Greetings, greetings, family, near and far, far and wide, on planet, off planet, in the planet, Shambhala. We don't know how it goes already. If your nature's agreeable, step forward, disagreeable, step back, because we not got no more time for that. Come in, my youth.
And yeah, we're back with Ladycrowne, and we don't stay down, we stay up, and we don't chat up because it's real talk. Episode 87. 8 plus 7 equals 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. The number of balance, you know? So you can stand up straight. Mm-hmm. And it's also linked with Mother Gaia, you know? It's an earthly number, and it's about grounding, you know? Keeping yourself balanced, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'd just like to say this, yeah? A wise man once said that you're not your mind, you're what you do. So take the right action so your mind can work for you, you know? Hopefully that resonates. And yeah, man, couple shout outs right now. Shout outs to my cousin Jidge out there. Came up in my dimensions, baby. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to Captain Kirby out there. Shout outs to Mas T out there, my older out there. And trust me, guess who's back? Back again. Queen Michelle, Queen Michelle, Queen Michelle is back again. Yeah, trust me, you don't know.
Where do you think you was going, Queen?
Just
stay right where you are.
Soul tribe, you get me? Star. You're a star, you know. The iron in your blood. Mm-hmm. Let me stop.
Say it, man.
The calcium in your teeth, the carbon in your eyes, the copper in your brain. Trust me.
Don't go insane.
Stay sane, just like us. You know what I mean?
Queenly, kingly, you don't know.
Trust me, you don't know. But yeah, greetings to you all, you know. It's another beautiful day. Every day is beautiful. It's all your perception, you know what I mean? But it's nice when the sun's out as well, you know, Amen Ra. That helps a lot, you know, vitamin D for you.
Ooh, yes.
You know what I mean? But yeah, what you gotta say? What you gotta say, you know, 3D to 5D, shouts to my mentor out there. You know what I mean? Real smart, got a shout outs to my mentor out there. He done a live stream recently. And we've been tapped into an astro-numerologist recently, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that guy there?
Amazing.
Mathematical mind, you know. I love this. It's not a quote from him. It's actually from 19 Keys, but he said, if things don't add up, then it don't make sense. It's real. Like, if you can't connect the dots, yeah, this is when you know you got a mathematical mind. When you don't connect the dots, yeah, you can't align to the message that you're getting. Mm-hmm. So when these lot are trying to sell you an illusion, your subconscious, most people's subconscious anyway, it's telling you straight away, yo, this don't
make no sense.
It's not making sense, you get me? So you got to realize that it's about opening up and tapping into this awareness that we've all got, but it's a choice. Like I like to say, it's all a choice to tap in or not. So
absolutely.
Trust me. Shout outs to my man anyway. Never heard of that title, you know, astro-numerology. It's like, yo, fam.
There's so much that's been revealed to us that was once, you know, obscure, unseen, unheard, because, you know, the age of information was about reading what people wrote in books, and then sometimes books were written, or books have been written that anybody all going to have access to. Do you know what I mean? When they burnt down those libraries in Alexandria. What can I say? You know, if you want to erase the people from this planet, then you burn everything, you destroy everything. But no matter how much they tried to hide it all, there's some things that they just couldn't hide. You know, like the big ass pyramids. Them. What are you gonna do? You know, perfect alignment, right in the center of the earth. Yeah. You know, they can't. They can't hide it all, but they will do, and they have been doing for the longest time. But you know, the jig's up. You know what I mean? It's over for them, and they know it, and that's why you've got so much chaos on the planet. But just what you were saying earlier on, a little while ago, STS, about the grounding, you know, and not just having our feet firmly on the ground, but actually, you know, in the earth. I'm sure Queen Michelle put up a little clip on Telegram some time ago when she was outside, you know, bare feet. I'm telling you, the connection that you get, that we have, you know what I mean? We're energy beings, you know what I'm saying? And there's electricity all around us. It's in us. It's what, you know, keeps that rhythm of the heart beating. You know, they do an echocardiogram on you. They measure your, you know, the patterns of your heartbeat. So it's important for us to do that. And
because Mother Gaia sends out negative ions to you, which actually gets rid of free radicals. This is why the animals are so healthy.
Yeah, and then my 4-foot planet, all right.
They're always grounded all the time. We're separate because of, obviously, the concrete jungle that a lot of us are in. But we can still connect. It's a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, we've got there's plenty of parks. Out there, most people, there's people that live in those
even your back garden,
high-rise places.
Grass, you know what I mean?
It's difficult for those in the high-rise, but guess what? We can come up your high-rise flat once a day, and just because sometimes they'll make the border nice and pretty, and you can just stand there, ground yourself a good 10-15 minutes a day. Why not? You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at what actually how well you feel and how the body starts to respond to it. But that's, like I said, when we were where we were in our natural habitat, we didn't have shoes on our feet. And you go to some places in Africa now, or all over the world, some rural places, they don't need no damn shoes. They are permanently connected to the earth. You know what I'm saying? So you might go there with your big expensive, I don't know, Balenciaga pedo shoes then, and and they're thinking, oh, the poor, they ain't got notes on the feet. Listen, they're better than you. They're more connected to Mother Nature and the earth than you. We're disconnected because right now I'm in the summer house and I've got socks on and I've got trainers on my feet to out it. You know what I mean? If we were doing this outside, surrounded by nature, you just kick off your shoes. You remember when we went up to was it College Park? And we just literally
walking,
walked,
hot day,
a beautiful hot day, and we just walked all the way around, and it just, you know what, the grass in between your toes, and it's amazing. It really is. I think more people should do it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're feeling a little bit shaky, baby. Because people are starting to bring yourself back into balance. You know what I mean? And make that connection with Mother Earth. You know what I mean? She's here to guide and protect us. But if you're gonna always keep that always block that connection so that you're not actually feeling the rhythm of the earth, you know what I'm saying, the heartbeat, because it's the planet is alive, it's the universe, and that's what we are, all ourselves, you know what I mean, have a connection with the universe. But guess what, we just need to do some grounding, even in those cold months. You know what, you can still, you know what I mean, get your toes in.
It's about being adaptable, isn't it? What I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just reconnecting with nature and going, because in order for us to progress, we've really got to go backwards. Forward has taken us into a world where it's not real and it's matrixed off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you go back to how things were and how we used to do things, growing our own food, really connecting with your neighbours, you know what I'm saying? Not this I, me mentality that's been forced upon us because it's through the education system, work, politics. It's all about what you can get and who you can be with your title, making you feel entitled because you've got exactly because there are some real psychopaths, as we all know, in positions of power. Because if they weren't psychopaths, what's taken place on the planet would not have happened. You've got to realise that. I mean, we've got on, I think it's May 6th, there's local elections, and there's lots of people are going to trot out there with their cards now saying that because I looked at the one that came to the house and can you bring photo ID? Yeah, right. What you're doing when you go to use your electricity, your energy, your voltage to vote, because that's what it is. It's a corporation. You must remember, or you must now understand that it's a corporation, not a cooperative. There's a big difference. There's lots of countries that have come together and they've been doing this since 1996 and developing a cooperation. And it's called a Shanghai Corporation. And just let me read to you what the Shanghai Corporation is, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Shanghai Corporation Organization, SCO, is a intergovernmental organization founded in Shanghai on the 15th of June 2001. It currently comprises of 8 member states: China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. And there's 4 observers at the minute, 4 observer states interested in acceding to full membership: Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran, Mongolia. and there's 6 dialogue partners: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Turkey. The SCO is the world's largest regional organization in terms of geographic scope and population. I think these nations make up about 60% of the population, 40-60% of the population. Now it's called the Shanghai Cooperative. Yeah, you got corporation and you've got a cooperative. And getting back to your voting, you are voting for a corporation. Your CEO of your Nottingham City Council or Birmingham or London or wherever, you'll look there and it'll say Chief Executive. So that is a cooperation, not a cooperative. A cooperative are when people, men and women, come together, countries come together on one accord. Yeah, and they decide to live harmoniously. So there's economic wealth and growth for all of the nations. There's no big boss coming there saying you must use my US dollar. That's the Shanghai Corporation. And I've already spoken to you about the BRICS. Yeah? That's a totally different, that's a global financial system, a new financial system that will rival the US dollar. It already has done. Saudi Arabia signed agreement with China to sell and buy the oil in the yuan, Chinese currency. Guess what? They're not going to be using. You got it right, the US dollar. So all those countries out there with their bonds and in US denominations, they're going to all go flooding back to America. Because if you start using your own currency and that currency gets strength, and now it can rival the dollar, why would you want to use a dollar? It's a dead asset. It's a dead currency. It used to be on life support. It was on life support. It's now dead. Getting back to you voting. You're going to be voting for a corporation, not a cooperative. Big difference. Look up the difference between the two. And you're going to be voting for your enslavement, your 15-minute cities, your net zero bullshit. That's what you're going to be voting for. So I suggest, not go nowhere. Because whether you go or not, they'll still run their agenda. All of the local authorities, municipalities, they're all bankrupt. Bankrupt, haven't got a penny, but guess what? Your companies that want to fling up them 5G towers and put the LED lighting into your street lighting, they've been bought and paid for. Because remember, if it's a corporation, then it's for profit. I don't know of any corporation that runs their business and it's non-profit. That's what you get with your cooperatives. They don't run for profit. They run for a common goal, common aims, whether it's through their economy, whatever assets they've got, backing their currencies, because that's the BRICS nations are going to be backing their currency with the silver and with the gold. So they won't be using just paper printed out of thin air, which is what the US has done for the longest time and had that hegemony, control, literally full control. And there was only 2 countries that didn't have a central bank, and that was Iran and Mongolia. Because that's what they wanted, global dominance, and the way for them to do it would have been through their central banks issuing their currency, regardless of what country they were in. It would still belong to the central banks, and they would have complete control. Thankfully, that's not going to happen. But just be mindful of what you're doing when you're out there doing your so-called voting. You're voting, you're recontracting and making agreement. You're agreeing with the manifestos of the Labour Party. Have you seen the manifestos of the Labour Party, Conservative Party, or whoever is out there? Have you seen what it is they're proposing to do? Because when you go along and vote for them, you're saying, oh yeah, okay, we're quite happy for you to do what you're doing. If you're not, then don't vote. Save your energy, because you're giving it away. This is the time. This is the Jubilee. You know what I'm saying? I've spoken about that before. And that is debt forgiveness. Every 7 years, all debt should be forgiven. Yeah? And everybody shakes hands and carries on. If you get yourself back into debt, then you know it's another 7 years before that debt can be relinquished. But don't revenue yourselves and carry on doing the crap that you did that got you in the situation that we're in now. by thinking that you going along to a polling booth with your ID is going to make a jot of difference, because you're not voting for a cooperative, you're voting for a corporation, because that's what it is. Nottingham City is the corporation. So just be very, very mindful. Come in, my.
You know, remember my mentor mentioning that the 5D mentality is all about looking within, you know, and to vote for yourself, because that's what it really comes down to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not externalizing your power. That's a part of the 3D mentality. Always looking outside of yourself for the answers. When really and truly, everything's within you. You get me? You've got this powerful mind, this powerful consciousness that a lot of people are tapping into now, because they realize, oh my God, I'm creating reality. Yes, you are.
Yes.
You know, you're creating reality. The laws of attraction, the laws of abundance, the laws of focus. You know what I mean? You have to tap into connecting with the universe, like we was discussing earlier. Otherwise, you're always going to be looking for the corporations to help you. You know, we've been living in a system it's put us in a position where we've become slaves without even really knowing.
Absolutely.
We need to gain our freedom back.
Yeah.
And also, he was talking about, you know, investing in land, you know, getting off grid, because we need to start taking our power back. If you're in smart cities, or on a smart grid, shall I say, wow, you gotta be hooked up, baby. You know what I mean? You gotta be hooked up.
It's a weapon system.
That's what I'm trying to say. So this world's massive. We can. Just come to me now. Remember when you was mentioning Kenya?
Oh yes.
Yo, fam, this is what I'm talking about. 1 million shillings. Is it shillings?
1 million Kenyan shillings.
Yeah.
3-bedroom house. Yeah.
And that's
3-bedroom house with land. It worked out at £6,159 at today's exchanges. Can you imagine that? You can't buy a blasted shed for £6,000. A good decent one. You know, it's not possible. You can't have a conservatory put on the back of your house for £6,000. This is a 3-bed house, and I don't mean something that's flung up, you know, I mean proper.
And the weather, you know, Africa, 9 months of sun, baby.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Or 3 months of the rainy season.
Listen, you know just imagine what you could do with that. So you think that we've got things over here because you can live in a, you know, £250,000 house, and it's that price because the inflation is so high that it costs you more to buy literally less. So, but you know, when interest rates do rise, and I'm telling you, people are going to be in a world of pain, because if you're just managing to pay back your death pledge now, you imagine what you're going to be doing, or how you're going to pay that death pledge when your interest rates double, quadruple, going to double figures. Tell me how you're going to manage. You're not.
That's why I say it's best to place yourself in the right environment, you know, so you can flourish, you know. So if you got an option to be in a different country that provides you a better environment, why not go? Why not go?
Make your plans.
You know what I mean? Make your plans and
start making plans, and look around, and you can see that, you know, the African continent is on the rise, and despite the fact that it's been colonized and that, you know, it's been stripped of so much of its natural resources, guess what? Mother Nature keeps on birthing it, you know, vibranium and all of them things there. You know what I'm saying? Look, it's gold, the silver, the diamonds. It's all there. Trust me, it's all there. And you know, China. What can I say? China are in a lot of the countries in Africa. But one thing I can say about China never colonized the African continent. Russia never went in and colonized the African continent. When they're there, they are building infrastructure. The other European countries, you know, Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, committed the most atrocities that you could possibly imagine. If you look back, I mean, the history is not hidden. It only takes you to do a little bit of research and look at actually what happened and what atrocities took place right up until the 50s and 60s. Some things that were taking place, some of the countries in Africa, absolutely appalling. We look at, I think it was the Mau Mau rebellion, I think they called it, and you have a look at what British troops did to the Mau Maus. Trust me, it will make your blood curdle that people could commit such atrocities. I mean, beyond my scope, that I could think of doing something like that, you know, to a pregnant woman. Trust me, just have a look for yourself. It's there. And those are the things that people need to be aware of. You need to know what happened in order for those things never to repeat themselves again. there are some people that are absolute sociopaths and psychopaths. I do believe that there are some people that join the army STS for, because they really think that they're fighting for king and country or queen and country, and they're, really real patriots. You have to call them that because that's what they are, real patriots. And then you have the absolute psycho. Yeah, that actually they might as well be playing one of those, what's those thingy games that they play, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually
that's programming.
Yeah, exactly.
Programming.
But they're actually enjoying what they're doing because that's their nature. I think they actually look for men and women like that, that are actual psychopaths, and think nothing of inflicting harm.
Well, the gaming industry has had a big impact, especially on young men, and because the language of the subconscious is imagery. So if you're playing Call of Duty every day, it's going to be normalized within your mind.
Yeah.
So it's easier for you to externalize it and actually do it. You know what I mean? It's programming, man.
Absolutely.
You got to be aware of this. You know what I mean?
That's
all
why
your
they made
senses,
those games, isn't it?
Yeah, to program your modern warfare. To program in your mind to think like that. So remember the astronumerologist saying that it's easier for the young ones to get captured by the army.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than the olders, because the olders are more wise and they're seeing it all.
Yeah.
Like,
You're gonna ask one.
I'm not doing
They're not doing it.
They're not doing it
because they know. They know. It's a bit like I think he referenced to Muhammad Ali, how they stripped him of all his titles because he said that the Vietnamese. And ain't done him nothing. So you can't.
So why is he going to go?
You can't see why he's going to Vietnam.
Yeah. So take the titles, guy. Get it back anyway.
He said no Vietnamese ever called me nigger. I think they greeted him, and because what they were looking at was their ancestors when they saw people that looked like him. You know what I'm saying? So they welcomed him. Why would he want to go out there and kill? So all right, then you're not going to do what we want you to do. So we'll strip you of everything. Yeah, take it all.
Shout outs to Muhammad
You
Ali,
have to have principles and morals and decency, and you must know why you're doing something. It's got to come from you. If somebody says, put this uniform on, take that gun and go, no, sir. Legalize murder. That's what that is. Because I'll tell you something now, them man come back with some serious trauma. And not only that, they test all kind of chemicals on them, Agent Orange. The babies, when they came back to the women and they had children, the babies were born with all kind of deformities because they have to have all these different in them body. Jesus Christ, come in my ear.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. Remember the Ali movie with Will Smith? He played that very well.
Oh, it's beautiful. Really well.
Very well.
Yeah.
I never forget that scene where George Foreman was punching up the punching bag, like boom, boom, and the sun was coming out, and Will Smith, who played Ali, was looking at that like, wow, I need to switch up my whole tactics, fam, because this guy's punch
one
is
punch and knock him out.
So he played the right game. He let George Foreman get tired, then slug him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shouts to Ali. I remember when he went Africa, that man was bowing down to him. He was a king, man. He was a superhero. He is a superhero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was one of the first Nubian men out there to be a real superhero. You know what I mean? And fight for the people, not just for himself, but the people. You know what I mean? And that's why he had such a big impact.
I'll tell you what I loved most about him was his ability to take these so-called reporters or journalists and when him bend them up. Listen, they bent out of shape because what they expected, or the box when it says going to come with this rawness, not educated, bit of a
intelligent man.
Yeah, exactly. That man spoke so eloquently, and what he said was so factual that you couldn't argue with it, even if it was a little bit distasteful for you to hear. You couldn't argue with what he said. Brilliant. I mean, those interviews that he did with was it Parkinson in the UK? Yeah, you just I think they're all on YouTube. But yeah, it's like you said, the young gung ho, the more mature man will think, what are we doing that for? But they will always capture people with the bullshit that they put out there, because we've seen it recently with what people have done to their bodies because they listened and didn't do any kind of due diligence and any little research themselves. The time for accepting what somebody says to you is over. Even I don't care, it's teachers, lecturers, I don't care who they are, doctors, call them whatever title they want to call themselves. now's the time for you to, I mean, you might hear what they say, but also then go, okay, let me have a look at that. Let me just go and see for myself. Because we were talking a couple of days ago about the Nashville shootings, and the information that came out about that. Because like I said to you last week, people would have lost their lives, because people do lose their lives in false flags. Because in order for it to appear real, there has to be some sort of fatalities. But literally, these people are sacrificed to give the impression that this young, I don't know what to call it, I think it identified as she went into the school and did what they did. But what can I say? There will be false flags, and they're going to be probably a lot more.
The world's a stage, isn't it? You know what I mean? So full of actors, fam. So you got to be playing player one out here, fam, and do your own thing. This is why I say it's so key to focus on that actual life instead of out there all the time. Because this is the matrix. They want you to focus on their distractions so you don't live your best life. Yeah. So your energy is always connecting with theirs. Yeah. You get me? This is how they get man in a fear frequency. Because if you're on the love frequency, boy, you're raising it up to your crown chakra. You're not down here in survival and fear. You know what I mean? Because the majority of what they pump out is fear-based. It's bad news all the time. Constant. Oh, shooting, this, that. It's never nothing positive that can help you on the journey. No. This is the matrix, fam. Many tricks out here.
They don't want you to ascend, man.
They don't want you to rise, fam.
No.
They don't want you to rise.
They really don't. I did speak about them arresting Trump a couple of weeks ago. And now he's been indicted, Yet again. It's just a distraction. Because whilst you're going,
you see what Donald Trump said? Like, come on,
trust me,
man.
it's all a distraction. All you got to do is focus on yourself, and those around you, and spread the information as far and wide as you possibly can, because shit's going to come down. It already is. You know what I mean? Because the dollar's dead. It died back in 2008. Yeah, the petrodollar. It died in 2008. But what they did, when you get those what do you call it there, where you shock people back in at it and the body jump up. That's what they did with the dollar in 2008, and it lasted until now. But it's proper flatline. It really has. We've already spoken about how to diversify, make sure that you're not caught up in any kind of hoo-ha, because I think there was, probably 1 million people on the streets in London this weekend. But yet again, your mainstream media, they ain't going to report on that. And they were out there protesting about the cost of living, because one place I know things were expensive is London. Oh, mate, I tell you, I used to love going down for weekends and what have you, when, back in the days. And I was thinking to myself, that's Christ, could I get what back this to that, back at, you know what I'm saying? It was so expensive. And I'm talking, I think the last time I went down was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and stayed over. So expensive. So I can't begin to imagine how these people are coping and managing to keep their head above water. Because we're talking about, high net worth men and women that are earning some serious money, £200,000-300,000 a year. You think, that's a lot of money. Not in London. Trust me. It's
£1 million houses in London that's only 5 bedrooms. Mad.
Some of them aren't even that,
some
of them are like 3 bedroom, and it's $1 million because of where it is.
Even a studio flat, 250,000.
Yeah, and
just for a flat.
It's literally one room, because everything, open plan, unless you fling up some walls to separate things off. Just one open, but it's crazy. That's to show you the cost of living and how it's really impacting on people. I mean, and then they're talking about more prices going up and this and that, and people are job losses because people are losing their employment, because that's what happens when this thing is winding down. They literally employers think, well, how can we cut costs? What's the first thing that they get rid of? Human resource. Exactly. So if 4 people is doing this job, guess what? Somebody I got to do the 4 people job, and the one that's kept is going to be so grateful, because the 3 that are gone are bad blood. You know what I'm saying? That's because we've been relying on jobs and not looking at what we can do as a little side hustle, something to, if you bake cakes and you're really good at it, guess what? Sell them online, do what you got to do. Don't be just relying on this wage, because if that wage ended today, most people living paycheck to paycheck as it is right now, yeah? Now just imagine everybody that's out there working, doing a job. If tomorrow morning you got up and the job gone, what would you do?
You can't have your eggs in one basket.
You can't.
Yeah.
What would you do? How would you survive? How would you? Because I tell you something now, those energy companies and your death pledge borrower out there ain't gonna give a crap. If you're having problems paying your, just get in contact them. Just one thing, no, so you have struggles so they can come take the holes off of you. That's all they want.
You know, going back to what we were speaking about earlier with Kenya, imagine some of them people living in Kenya with the amount of money that they got. They could be living in abundance, but it's the environment that they're in that making it a hard life for them. You know what I mean? You know, a real struggle.
Absolutely. Because I mean, we spoke some time ago about, you know, this not being our permanent base. You know, this is because when I step out of Babylon, trust me, I have no intentions of coming back. What for? Do you know what I'm saying? What for? So all I've been doing is looking at what's happening in the world, because you have to observe and know where you are going, where you are. You can't get a bang run and go and then go, oh shit. You know what I mean? Out a frying pan in a fire. You can't do any of those things. So this crescendo that's going to come up will come up, and eventually it'll start to dissipate, and there'll be some, you know, you'll be able to stick your head out and go, all right, okay, things are cooling down a bit. Then you can start saying, all right, then we need to do X, Y, and Z. Until then, you hold tight, hold firm, you know what I mean, and stand your ground, because trust me, things are taking place behind the scenes. And I'll tell you something now, the Titans are out there, and outside forces, energy coming in from different planets, you know what I mean, galactical beings, benevolent beings, you know what I mean, your light workers. We're all out there doing what needs to be done, because as much as you possibly can, you have to wake up your fellow men and women. Mankind ain't going to wake up. Your fellow men and women will. Do you know what I'm saying? And we don't want them to be out there in the streets when it's absolute, you name it, bedlam. Everything lock off, no electricity, no water. I mean, for all intents and purposes, right? What is going to happen, what's going to take place is one where we're going to be going, yeah, kiss me neck, or, you know what I'm saying? That type of event. They call it biblical, and it probably will be, yeah, because that's just how it's going to go down. You can't, you know, there's no smooth landing here now, because they've done too much. And it is about the great reveal, because everything that they're doing to get you distracted is so you don't pay attention to the likes of Hunter Biden's laptop and the various other entities that have held positions of power, Epstein and his island, and those people that visited there for what, me no know. You understand me? It's all about the great reveal. And as much as possible, they can keep you in fear and panicking and worrying about your bills and food, then you're not going to pay attention to the things that are going to come up. But there'll be a time when we're all still, wherever we are, we'll be still. If you're out on road, you probably have to get yourself back in your yard and just hunker down, because we will know. We have to know what's happened. Many of us out there already do, but those, and I guess I'll tell you something now, the things that I've been made aware of, I'm sure is nothing in comparison to what's going to be revealed to me. Trust me. And I think, oh my God, some of the things that I've been made aware of are just shocking. But like Ralph said, the whole world is a stage, and the whole world has been made into a corporation. So therefore it's profit driven, and you and I have been enslaved by virtue of that birth certificate, and they've been living off our trust. We're worth millions. By the time we get to 50, a million a pound.
We're priceless.
That's exactly what we are.
Priceless, you know, we're made out of stardust.
Yeah.
Through great suffering and pain comes great awakening.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to go through this in order for us to really rise.
That's so true.
I mean? It's the time now, isn't it? You know
yeah, I mean? This is it. Yeah. 2023. Whoever's here was destined to. We chose to come here. Trust me. So don't be all angst about things, because you chose to be here, and this is one of the best times I could possibly imagine to have incarnated on this planet for this experience that I'm having now. Trust me. It is an amazing time.
And the only reason why you can say that is because you're creating your reality.
Absolutely.
Because if you wasn't, you wouldn't be. Because it would be linked to this.
Yes.
What they want for you. You know, you won't be taking your power back. You know what I mean?
I've been a Maya. I've been doing what a lot of people are doing, sit down there, a ball, and you know, and penny pinching, and oh, am I going to do this?
The victim mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't
be living in those lower energies no more, man. That I'm always tapped into Jean-Claude and Penny Kelly, Breaking the Clouds.
Yes.
The energy that's coming on the planet. Even the last 2 nights, I've been going through a madness. I think, where's all this energy coming from? But I realised that when your energy system's really activated with the Kundalini, you're connected with the universe more. Because all of us are connected. What is your level? You know what I mean? So, and she even was saying that some people might be going. Trust me, because you've got to be at a certain frequency to stay on this planet, because Mother Gaia, she's ascending.
Yeah, she's upgrading.
She's upgrading, and we have to upgrade with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those that don't just won't
make it, you know.
Won't make it.
Yeah. So it's very important. So can you feel it, baby? Oh yeah. Trust me. It's the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. You know.
In my rhyme.
You know it is. But yeah, it's a flip. No rehearsal. No script. No acting going on. And yeah, keep working on your mind, body, and soul in order to achieve your goals. Because we're there with you.
Spiritually.
You don't know, bro and sis. Stay blessed. And yeah, STS and Ladycrowne over and out. Peace and blessings.
Peace.